Hey everybody, Joe with Bumblin' Acres. As many of you know if you've watched our channel, we have our homestead, and I work a full-time job as well to support our homestead endeavor while we get ourselves set up and we're moving towards sustainability. That requires you be able to make the financial choices you have to make. If you're going to get into homesteading, realize it comes at personal cost, financial cost, and emotional cost. It is not cheap. The most expensive eggs we eat are the ones we raise. It is much cheaper for us if we wanted to buy crappy eggs that taste like disappointment to buy them at the store. We were able to get wonderful meat from a deer this year. That probably wound up being, for the quality of the steaks and the supply, is cheaper for us. But that's because we didn't have to raise the deer. We didn't have to kill it. It was killed on one of our neighboring homesteads, and they had all the deer meat they needed and allowed us. So we just did the viscerating, and then we had our local butcher make the meat. But that's probably the only time we come up on the good side of a financial cost. Generally, our eggs, we raise them, and I wouldn't trade for everything that they do. But when it comes down, if you're just looking at the money part of it, it is more expensive to eat what you make than it is to buy the crappy, cheap, terrible stuff that is sold to you. So, homesteading, financially, I always remember Joel Salatin talked about how when his first year, when he decided to go farming full time, he had saved up enough money where he could go a year. That he did not dive into farming full time until he had a year's cost put in, so that for a year he could commit to only doing the farm. And that it was important financially for him to be there. And as he talks about it, he says that really wasn't enough. And most people, when you read the books on it, will tell you just a year's income is not enough. You are going to struggle. It is so expensive to set up our property. For us to put a perimeter fence up and pay someone to come in because it needs so much work is $8,000 for us to put a perimeter around 4 1/8 of an acre. Wow. And we have to have a perimeter fence. You're going to have livestock, you have to have a perimeter fence. God forbid, you don't just want, it's not just to keep your animals or keep people out. It's a simple reality that, you don't want your animals wandering off and getting killed by something else. And God forbid, you don't want one of your goats or something get out in the road, some driver swerves and winds up getting hurt from your animals. So you have a responsibility to put a perimeter fence in. It's not just the perimeter fence, it's the paddock fencing, because we're going to practice the heavy rotating, that quick movement through. So we have to sectionalize our available space so that we can be constantly moving those goats and pigs. The feed. Feed is not cheap. So if you're going to when you decide to do homesteading and farming, you can't just be like, well, I got a great plan and it's morally the right thing to do, which it is. It does not change the fact that you can't eat your morals. You've got to be able to have enough funds to survive, and then you've got to be in a position to make healthy, ethical, smart decisions. Talking about ethical and healthy choices. Today at my civilian job, I still use the military vernacular, my corporate job, I had to write the toughest email I have ever written in my life while being there. And I have made formal objections to policy that went up to basically the second most powerful person at our company. That was not a hard email to write because I was standing up for what I believe and what was right. I've had to do that multiple times. I've questioned. A lot of people would think that that's the tough thing. This wasn't. I work in the health insurance business. There's a lot of things involved, but some of it is based in numbers and production and how much I do. And based off of certain metrics, I get bonuses based off of that. And I don't want to get into the whole specifics of what my pay structure is. I'm blessed to have a job that pays for me to homestead. But one of those metrics, I got an email today saying that I had hit one of those metrics and that there was a $1,500 reward that was coming to me. The problem being I track my own numbers, and I am almost 99.99% sure I did not hit that metric. And in that moment, you have to come face to face with, do you stand up for what is right? My family, we're not wealthy. $1,500 is a really good amount of money to have come into, especially at this time. I don't want to toot my own horn. I'm not any. I truly, as I tell my wife, I'm no better than anybody else on this planet. I am just me. I strive to make good choices. I strive to make healthy choices. But I am nothing spectacular. I'm a 5'6" bald white guy. Not in the impressive area, but I do have strong morals and strong values and a strong will. And, Deborah and I are raising a 16-year-old. And he's at the point in his life where he's going to start what he believes and what's important. Starts being challenged by what do you want. And he's at a place where it is very easy to get sucked into a web of not good place, not good decisions. And I know, because that was my life for a long time. And I'd email him back and say, I need you all to confirm this is the case. I do not believe this is. And it's, difference of $1,500 on my next paycheck. And I'm blessed that I can still pay my bills without that. And this kind of goes to the financial part of it. Deborah is in charge of our budget and finances. She's much better at it than I am. And she takes, and we have done so good getting our finances, our financial house in order. If our financial house wasn't in order, turning down that much, that kind of money would be, it's where you face the immoral choice. It's an immoral choice to take something that isn't yours. It's an immoral choice to not provide for your family. But thankfully, to the wife that I have, and to our budgeting and our allotting and making sure that we have enough and calling our creditors and getting things taken care of, we are in a position where I don't have to make that $1,500. I don't have to have my moral values strained to that degree. But I'm reminded of, if you were asked people what's the hard thing to do, a lot of people wouldn't think of, turning down something. Our idea of hard would be, challenging your boss when they're not right. I'm pretty obstinate and stubborn, more than willing to challenge my boss when it's for moral reasons. It was kind of a gut check to me today to have to find out, are your morals important? So, if you're going to homestead, you're going to be a farmer, you're going to live this life, you've got to get your house in order, your financial house in order, your moral house in order, your spiritual house in order, your educational house in order. You've got to be able to learn. You've got to be able to integrate. You've got to be able to trust. If you're doing this lifestyle alone, it is easier and harder all at the same time. It's harder because you've got somebody else. That's a lot of trust. It can cause conflict. It's a little bit easier because it's just yourself. However, it is just yourself. Your weaknesses, your strengths, they all play into that. My wife is my partner, so therefore she looks after me. She knows my weaknesses. So, I don't have to, we have responsibilities together. That's partnership. Homesteading is so much easier as a partnership. You can still do it alone. There are a lot of great your single dad homesteading, your single mother homesteading. I forget the name of their channel. There are people that do it by themselves, but it is so hard. If you are blessed with a partner, thank your partner for that. But financially, you've got to get your house in order. You've got to know what your bills are. If you're in debt, you need to fix that. You need to be calling your creditors. You need to be cutting up that credit card. You need to be cutting up your debit card. You need to be able to, get cash out. We do the cash in jars about what our allotment is for the month. I forgot to go pick up something that I needed to get today, by the way, speaking of. So, but there are a lot of really, really challenging things about homesteading. Get your moral house in order, your financial house in order, get your ethical house in order, regret when you've got to make tough decisions and make right ones. So that was my thought for the day. This is Joe Bumblenaker. Sorry this is a long post, so forgive me for rambling. Bye.